Welcome, everybody, to the 19 Eyebrows Fantasy Football League. Week 4 just wrapped up, and we've got it all for you guys this week. We've got trades, we've got big upsets, we've got tough losses, trash talk. All of it's here, and I'm here to get you guys caught up on everything that went down in this last week in our Fantasy Football League. We also have today our very first ever exclusive interview with one of the Fantasy League owners, just coming off a hot upset. We got B-Mags later in the video for an interview, so be sure to stick around for everything, and let's just jump right into it. Taking a look at the scoreboard from Week 4, we can see that there was a lot of close games this week, a lot of tough competition, and a couple of upsets that we'll get into more detail later. But for now, let's start at the top and just work our way down. So we're going to start off with my team's performance this week against Jamie. Going into this week, my team was 3-1 after losing to Zach in the previous week, and Jamie's team was 3-0. Now, okay, I know you can see that it was a very close score, but it was even more dramatic than it probably looks right now. Jamie was down roughly 40 points going into Monday Night Football at the end of the week, and he only had Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Travis Kelce left. He was texting me and getting in my face about how Travis and Clyde were going to combine for 40. I told him he was full of shit. And yeah, here I am, 2-2. Despite Jonathan Taylor going down with what might be a serious injury this week, Jamie's team was able to edge my team out for the victory in the end. Brady and Godwin couldn't outscore Clyde and Travis on Monday Night Football. Although I would say more than anything, what got Jamie this W was the fact that I had 3 injuries out of nowhere right at the start of the week. Alvin Kamara, Amon-Ra St. Brown, and Michael Thomas all had to sit out and ride this one on my bench with an injury for week 4. 3 of some of my best starting players, which is why you see Greg Dortch in my lineup at flex, who only could manage to drop me 1.6 points after having consistent double digits every game to this point. Apparently, and I didn't know this either, but Rondale Moore, who Greg Dortch was originally filling in for, came back off of injury and didn't do that much with being on the field now that he's back. But this reduced Greg Dortch's role on the offense, and he was just a flat-out dud this week. And to make it even more tragic, if you look at the rest of my bench, if I had started literally anyone else other than Greg Dortch, I actually would have came away with this one. So yeah, I'm very pissed. I'm pretty salty. I should be 3-1, but who cares? It's whatever. You win some, you lose some. It's about the long game. What can you do? We're in it for the long haul over here. Season not over yet. But Jamie managed to slip away with this one to advance to 4-0. So good for him. Moving on to the next game. Now, I wouldn't necessarily call this one an upset, but it was definitely still surprising because Connor managed to put up the second biggest week of our league this season so far, dropping 181 points. Meanwhile, Jason's team kind of fell apart. It was a bit of an off week for everybody. Not like the worst performance we've seen this year yet, but it was a down week for sure. Connor hasn't really made any big moves yet. He's picked up a few people off waivers, and he hasn't made any trades, though, but he decided to move Chris Olave into his starting lineup this week, who might have potential to break out as a rookie, dropping him a decent 16 points over in his game at London. But what really brought Connor his big score this week would be his solid receiving core at Devontae Adams, Deebo Samuel doing their thing, and then TJ Hawkinson popping off for a 40-point game at tight end, as well as Greg Joseph, Connor's kicker, who managed to drop 18 points for him. So overall, pretty decent week. A lot of guys booming, and I mean, honestly, not everyone is even playing at their full potential. We'll see how Connor holds in for the long run. But on the other side of this matchup with Jason's team, I would say what really sticks out to me the most would be his running backs sort of underperformed. Meanwhile, his receivers didn't really explode this week either. But Joe Burrow dropped an okay 20 points at quarterback. And after this game was over at the end of the week, Jason ended up making a trade, which we'll get into later. But he has a chance to come back this next coming week and get some wins back on the scoreboard. Moving on to our next matchup. Now, I would say that this game was somewhat of an upset because although people have respected a lot of the players on Shane's team and he's managed to put up some decent points, he's had a really rough go in the standings so far this year. He came into this game 0-3 against Graham, who was 1-2. And Graham just a couple weeks ago managed to acquire Austin Eckler in a trade with Jason's team, and Eckler definitely showed up for him this week. But like I said, somewhat of an upset because a lot of us have been pretty high on Graham's team, and it was definitely a slower week for him. I wouldn't say a total bust of a week. He's got some real stud players and managed to still drop 133. But Jalen Waddle could only drop 6 points because Tua took a massive injury this past week. I'm sure a lot of you might have already heard of it, but Tua suffered what might possibly be a second concussion within the same week, which is very scary, really up in the air if he's going to return or when or how he's going to perform. So we all wish the best for Tua here at 19 Eyebrows. Pray for Tua. Seriously, we really hope he's okay. And Tua was off to a really hot start this season. He had just dropped 40 points recently, and Shane was feeling like he could rock with him for this week, but clearly that was not the case. Despite Shane having a dud at QB, though, the rest of his team certainly decided to pop off and secure himself a nice, hard-earned W against Graham. Notably, Miles Sanders dropped just about 30 points after his lackluster season last year. It looks like they might actually be running the ball with him more often this time. Cooper Kupp was doing Cooper Kupp things, and T. Higgins showed everyone that he's just as much of a baller as Jamar Chase when given the opportunity. So a couple of the biggest takeaways I would have with this game is that Shane's team, despite starting out 0-3, has proven that it can put up some points and it can hang with the big boys if they catch you on an off week. And what makes this such an even bigger win for Shane is, we'll get into it more later, but currently half of our league is tied in the standings at 1-3, and Shane managed to edge himself right into that conversation with this big W. If Graham had won, he would be sitting at 2-2. And 1-3 is a massive difference. He has now brought Graham down to his level. But all in all, massively important win for Shane, and still lots to be encouraged about from both of these guys going forward. They both have some decently solid teams. Now, our fourth matchup over here between Zach and BBQ's team. Now, this was a relatively heated matchup. I wouldn't say it was too heated, but it was certainly close and very intense. Came down to the very last night on Monday Night Football. Going into the final game of the week, the only player BBQ had left was Matt Gay, his kicker, the title man himself, the name of the franchise, face of the franchise. BBQ was down by 7 points. He only needed 7 points out of his kicker, and the man, the myth, the legend himself delivered with his 9-point game on Monday Night Football, giving BBQ the slight edge over Zach for the win to remain undefeated at 4-0, with Zach staying at 2-2. In the end, this did end up being quite the very slow week for both of our teams over here. Zach and BBQ, respectively, both had a very down week for their teams. And this just happens. There's not much that you can do about it, but I would say that the one thing that really cost Zach this win was he had DK Metcalf on his bench, who he understandably is a little iffy about trusting going into this year with Geno Smith as the QB now and a lot of changes going on in Seattle. But DK Metcalf ended up dropping just about 22 points, which would have given Zach the win. But it's fantasy football. It's all about who you start. You never know. So Zach did the best that he could with the information he had. It was a hard-fought effort from both of these teams, but BBQ managed to stay undefeated. Going into his matchup next week with Jamie, that's right, next week we have both undefeated teams facing each other, so one of them is coming out of it with a loss, that's for sure. Be sure to stay hyped for next week, but let's move on to our final game we're taking a look at. Now, honestly, this was probably the most exciting matchup to come out of this week, and certainly the biggest upset by far. If you've been following our league up until this point, you would know by now that Mags has been catching a lot of shit this season. He has a lot of pressure on him and a lot to prove. If the name change to 0-2 rings wasn't bad enough, he actually was going into this week 0-3, needing a win desperately to hang on with the other guys in the standings. And although it's not overall the most impressive outing from B-Mags over here, it is his highest scoring week up until this point. Now, a lot of his players did underperform. Joshua Palmer with only 3 points. Dalton Schultz with just a straight up goose egg. I mean, he got nothing this week for Mags. Pittman having a down week, getting used to Matt Ryan as his new quarterback. Although Derrick Henry is starting to look like himself again, and Mags is optimistic he'll turn things around for the remainder of the year. But Mike Evans being the leading scorer with 30 points on his team. Which is a very solid night for Mike Evans. However, what really sealed this victory for Mags more than anything else was Javonte Williams over at Jack's Flex, who Javonte Williams was acquired by Jack from Jason's team in a trade made in the last couple weeks. But that trade has turned out to be a total waste for Jack because Javonte Williams suffered a season-ending injury this week after only putting up 3 points for Jack's team. So Javonte is out for good, dropped for the rest of the year, and Jack could not hang on this week to his record. Javonte Williams going down left Mags with a massive opportunity because going into Monday Night Football, the very last game of the week, the only player Mags had left going was his defense, the 49ers. Mags was down by just under 20 points going into this game, and he wasn't really expecting much. He was pretty much expecting to lose at this point, but George Kittle went on to only drop 4 points that night on Monday Night Football, while meanwhile, Mags' defense managed to get some sacks and a big pick six, which you guys saw at the very start of this video. Very hype moment for Mags' team. That pick six, along with some other key defensive plays by the 49ers defense on Monday night, are what managed to carry Mags' team with a 20-point outing that got his total up to the necessary 120 in order to beat the commissioner. Jack's team had a very off week, and Mags' defense took the opportunity to secure the win for the Peacock franchise, Mags' first win of the season, and he's got a lot to say about it, which you guys will be hearing from him very shortly, but let's wrap up this week by taking a look at the standings. What's most noteworthy about the 19 Eyebrows Week 4 standings would be that quite literally half of our league is 1-3. That is right. 5 out of our total 10 league members are tied in the standings at 1-3. Now, as we all know, if there is a tie come playoff times, the person who advances to the playoffs is going to be decided by the total points scored, which you can see down below under PF. Interestingly enough, Mags only has 491 points allowed, meaning he's had one of the easier schedules in our league, yet has only managed to put up 428 points in total. So it's definitely quite a roller coaster season already for 0-2 rings at the bottom of the standings. What this tells me early on in the season is that this is possibly going to be a very competitive year where it might just be anyone's shot at the playoffs. The only 2 remaining undefeated teams would be BBQ and Jamie, and just next week in week 5, they're going to be facing each other head to head. So we will only have one undefeated team after this week. I'd say the last notable thing would be if you take a look at Connor's team, Bluestown Jimmy Bezban. He's got a respectable 3-1 record right now, which edges out more than half of our league. So he's in a good spot at the standings right now. We'll have to see if he's able to keep up this win streak because he's only managed to score about 500 points so far this season, which is the 3rd lowest despite Connor's big week. However, he's not too much further behind from the people ahead of him. So he has a real shot to make sure that he doesn't end up in the toilet bowl again. Now, Mags may be currently at the bottom of our standings, but he's feeling himself right now, and he has a lot to say about his team, his season so far, and where it's going from here. So be ready, guys, because we're about to hop into our interview right now with B Mags, our first ever interview with a league owner. But really quick, I just wanted to say, I'm short on time and I really wanted to get this video out when I can. So I wasn't able to actually edit screenshots of our league and some of the different things that we're talking about during our interview, which is a mistake on my part. I fully intended the interview to be somewhat of an interactive thing where you guys could actively look at the league with us as we have it in front of us. But I'm going to have to save that for the next interview and all the other interviews going forward. I think what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to record my screen like how I do when I'm streaming, but actually have the league open on my computer while I'm conducting the interview. I just recorded us on Discord, and I planned on making edits for everything after, but that's a whole lot of extra work that I should have seen coming and is not really sustainable going forward. So this interview, it's just going to be our Discord call, but expect in future interviews we're going to have the league and all the info directly in front of us. But enough talking. Let's get to the interview with B-Mags. All right, welcome everybody to the first ever 19 Eyebrows league owner interview. Here we have, coming off his hot first win of the season, feeling good about himself, we've got B-Mags.
What's going on, everybody?
Proud owner of 0-2 rings. And Mags, I gotta ask you, okay, so let's start, let's just go back to the draft here. So, you were thrilled when you found out you had the 4th overall pick, but how's this season going for you so far? What are your thoughts overall? All right.
Well, yeah, you're right. When you say I was thrilled, I was happy at the 4th overall pick. It's definitely nice to have a pick in the middle of the draft, but at that point, I either wanted 4 or I wanted 1. So I was happy I got 4, but
Right.
I wanted Austin Eckler at 4. But unfortunately, he fell to 2.
Didn't you try to play some 4D chess? I believe you said.
Yes, some reverse psychology.
Right.
On Team Frankie's. I was trying to convince Jason to take. I said I wanted Jefferson at 4 to Jason, trying to manipulate him into taking Jefferson at 2, because I knew Zach was taking CMC at 3. So that way Eckler would have fell to me at 4, but unfortunately it didn't work, and Jason took Eckler at 2. Zach took CMC at 3, like I thought, and I had a tough choice. Do I want to go running back, or do I want to go Justin Jefferson? And running backs are always kind of scarce in fantasy football, so.
Right. I think you made the move most of us would have made in that position. That's for sure.
So Derrick King Henry is on my team, and got off to a tough start this year, but back-to-back 23-plus point performances, can't complain about that at all.
And that's what I got to ask you. How do you feel about Derrick for the long haul at this point? Because a couple weeks ago, you were ready to jump off the Tobin Bridge in Boston.
Yeah, for the long haul, based off of the performance the other running backs have been putting up, that have been drafted highly in fantasy football,
It is a slow year for running backs in general. That is true.
Yeah, so with that perspective, I'm happy with where Derrick Henry's at.
Fair enough.
I'm worried about the workload. He's, Vrabel's just, running the football down his throat.
And he is definitely injury prone, or has been before.
Yeah, he's getting up there in age, but if the touches are there and he stays
getting
healthy,
up there in age, dude. He just got out of college a couple years ago. Like what?
Yeah, I think he's 20.
All right, maybe running back
or 29.
No way, he's 28. No, he's not 28.
Derrick Henry, I think, is 28 years old.
Dude,
you can fact check that.
I will fact check that.
Pop it up on the screen and just say that I was right.
I mean, in running back years, it was 28 years. You're right.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Dude, he looks good for his age. He ages good.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. He's for a running back, he's definitely getting up there. He's not 30 yet, but maybe he's getting there. But
all right.
I'm happy with where he's at.
That's fair. Except let's address the elephant in the room. So first of all, you were formerly the Peacock, and there's been a bit of a name change, and let's just get right to it. So you're the bottom of the barrel of the league currently. I think that's fair to say. You're at the bottom of the standings. Did you expect this going into the year? And what do you think it means for your squad going down the line? All right, Mr. Now clearly you're 0-2 rings, right?
Yeah. So let's address the name change first. Something needed to happen. Coming off my 2019, victory, I
have not had a winning season ever since.
Yeah, I haven't made the playoffs yet. So that needed to change. A slow start this year. The other league owners started giving me some heat. So I just remind everyone that I might be 0-2, but I do have 2 rings, hence the name 0-2 rings.
No, that's fair. It should be a T-shirt. Yeah.
Exactly. I did end up going 0-3 after this, but I don't have 3 rings, so I couldn't change the name to 0-3 rings.
No, I think you stick to it at this point. Yeah.
So, but I did get my first victory finally against the league commissioner of all people, surprisingly.
And so you're expecting to go on a run here. You want everyone, when you're in the playoffs at the end of the year, to remember you started 0-2 rings. And you didn't quit. You didn't quit, did you?
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's funny you say that, because the person, you of all people, right? You last year started off horrendously.
Oh,
Um,
right. Did I inspire you with my?
and yeah, so I guess what can happen once could happen twice. And you ended up winning the championship last year. And everyone was giving you shit, and you had to remind everyone, I'm a winner. I know how to win. And I
So
get
you're a winner.
reminded
You know how to win.
I'm a winner. I know how to win.
This
If
is
you look at my
this
if you
is
look at my team, it's a very beat up roster, or it was to start the year, but they're starting to become healthy. It's starting to make the glue is starting to harden. And
admittedly, when healthy, you are not the worst team in the league, I would say necessarily.
yes, I agree with that. And there are a few gapingly bad teams in the league.
Whoa. I didn't realize we were getting
And
into that already, but
and
okay.
no, but you did bring
Oh.
up bad teams, and
Well, let me just remind you, you can continue, but you are currently bottom of the standings. Barely put up 400 points on the year in total so far. And
yep.
and you've had one of the easiest schedules with only 400-ish points scored against you, despite being bottom of the standings, worst record, worst points scored. So, which teams are you calling? Which teams are the real shit teams? Because you say it's not yourself.
Yeah, so I think that Jason, I love you, but your team's pretty shit.
Ouch. Okay.
After, Jack has a good team. He has two reliably solid RB, high-end RB2s, but he has Diggs and Jefferson. Other than that, his team's not that good. And he gave up some decent players for Javonte Williams, and Javonte just tore his ACL 1 week into Jack having him.
And I will admit, I'm not even that big on his running backs either. Like you said, solid running backs twos. I wouldn't go that far. But yeah, he definitely has a make or break roster currently. I think we have yet to see what his roster is fully capable of.
I'm not pushing on injury for anybody, but I just think that if
you're in no place to. You can't have that karma. You can't have that energy around your team at this point.
But I just think that if one of those two receivers goes down, he's going to be in for a tough stretch. I hope they don't. I really want them, they should stay healthy. They're two of the best players in the league. But God forbid one of them goes down. Jackson for a tough one. And then, lastly, the last team I've been thinking about, he's somehow 2-1 or 3-1, maybe 2-2. I don't know his exact record.
Oh, Connor? Are you talking about?
Connor. I think his teams are fraud. If you look at the points scored, he is the third least points scored, and he's in third place. How does that make any sense?
Well,
so I think Connor's been, playing some teams that have been having some bad weeks. And, yeah, I don't think his team's that good.
So to go down the list, you don't like Derek Carr?
I had Derek Carr on my team, and I dropped him.
You don't like Nick Chubb?
I think Nick Chubb is good. I just don't know how good he's going to be when Deshaun Watson comes back. And by that time, it's like everyone's getting ready for the playoffs. I think they're going to be throwing the ball a lot more when Deshaun comes back.
Okay, fair. Devontae Adams? Not big on Devontae?
No, I love Devontae. That's just, you can't go wrong with Devontae.
Well, you don't have Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, that is true. But yet Derek Carr, I don't think Derek Carr is that good of a quarterback. I think he's as mid as they come, but...
I don't want to interject my opinion too much, but the next one on the list would be Deebo Samuel. And I got to say, I think Jimmy G coming back helps Deebo a lot now, but I'm not too huge on him this year in general.
For sure. I think that Deebo's one of the best players in the league. Everyone gave Connor shit when he drafted him fourth.
Now what about Hawkinson? Because Hawkinson is a Philip the Infirmary OG.
Yeah, I was never high on TJ Hawkinson after last year. And someone in the fantasy league brought up a great point, saying the reason why Hawkinson dropped 39 points this week is because Swift was out, Amon-Ra was out, just the whole entire
Chark was also out.
Chark was also out. So who else are they going to get the ball to?
Fair
they
enough.
only feed the ball to Jamal Williams so many times.
Fair enough. And then Zeke. I mean, you're not. I think I'll get behind on this wagon too. Yeah, no, Zeke is not looking hot.
Zeke is.
He is not looking like the most expensive running back right now.
Yeah. If there's a fraud on that team, it's Zeke.
Fair enough.
I think Tony's a solid bench.
So you think Connor's in for an L streak, and that's your opportunity to rack up some wins and slide in?
For sure. If Deebo doesn't go off, or if Devontae doesn't drop 30, then his team's gonna lose.
And this is where we're gonna get to your schedule a little bit here. Now, if you could take a look at your schedule with me, we'll pull it up right here. Let's see here. You've got So you've got Zach this coming week. All right.
Yep.
How do you feel about this matchup? Any trash talk ahead of time? What is your team going to put on the table against Zach? What is your team bringing to the table this week?
That's a great question. I really hope Keenan plays. Keenan Allen, I feel like, is the X factor.
Okay.
For this week. I don't really want to start Josh Palmer ever again. So, but going in, I'm confident. If I take a, hold on, let me just get his matchup up. The only person I'm nervous of would be Josh Allen and probably Mark Andrews, because both those players could easily outscore their projections. And
you're not worried about McCaffrey?
I'm worried about McCaffrey. I'm just not overly concerned. I don't think McCaffrey's up in 40 pieces like he was in 20. So yeah, I'm concerned about McCaffrey, but he can say the same thing that he might be concerned about Derrick Henry.
Do you think McCaffrey will finish top 5 this year?
In running backs, if he can stay healthy, I think he'll finish 4 or 5. I don't think he'll finish anything really above that.
Okay, interesting. And what do you think of Zach's recent acquisition of Amari Cooper? Does he scare you at all?
The pooper scooper.
Oh, the pooper scooper. Oh, you're not worried about Amari at all?
The thing with Amari, it's just he's so boom bust. He could drop, 25, drop 5. He hasn't shown me anything else, or really anything else yet this year. I mean, look at his totals this year: 4.7, 25, 23, and 1.9.
I'd be careful. I mean, when he sees the headlines, 19 eyebrows B Mags, very down on Amari. He might be trying to pull off some revenge here, Mags. I don't know. You're putting some energy out in the universe.
He's going in. Jacoby Brissett's going in to face the Chargers, dude. The Chargers have Devontae Samuel Jr. and J.C. Jackson. I mean,
okay.
I don't think he's gonna be touching the ball that much.
Okay, so you're predicting a win against Zach. You're Babe Ruth calling your shot. Win against Zach right here this week.
I don't want to call a win. There are definitely some roster moves
because admittedly you are significantly outprojected.
I'm outprojected by 3.8, and he does not have a defense yet.
That's my point, which means putting that in, he most likely will be over 140. You're at the low end 130s here. You're clearly the underdog.
Here's the thing that I look at.
Okay, what do you look at?
My receivers and my flex are better. His two, and I think that Henry and McCaffrey they cancel each other out. So he just has him beat at quarterback, RB2, and tight end.
Trevor Lawrence going to pull off?
Trevor Lawrence, I don't think is going to be my starting quarterback next week. But if he is, I'm not that confident, but the football 4 times like he did last week.
So Trevor Lawrence already might be switched out early. Okay.
You've had a quarterback more than 1 week yet this year.
Now, I've got to bring up, if we're talking about your roster going into this week, I've got to bring up the other elephant in the room, the Juju Smith-Schuster trade. I got to ask you, are you satisfied with the trade thus far? Do you regret anything? And what made you want to make the trade?
What made me want to make the trade?
Is that regret I hear?
Got so fixated on the fact that Juju dropped like 80 yards in the first half, then got pulled because they were up so much. And I'm thinking to myself, he's in this role where he's just going to get fed the ball. Him and Kelsey are the only 2 big names on that offense.
Well, he's been in that role before in the past. And underperformed.
I looked at his stats and before Big Ben started to fall off, he put up great numbers as like a rookie or a second year player. He got 1,400 yards, I think, his second year in the league.
Being the number 2 to Antonio Brown.
Exactly.
The number 1 coverage hog.
And now he has Patrick Mahomes running the football. I just got so excited. And then
see, when I say that though, I don't think you and I take the same thing away from that. I say that was with Antonio Brown. That's why he succeeded. You seem to think that Antonio Brown held him back from being even better. Is that your?
That's my thing, because now I can make the same argument by saying Antonio Brown's like the Travis Kelce, and that he's still the second option. So why can't he replicate that?
Yeah, my only question, I guess, would be, and I guess where the rest of the league was coming from, is have you watched Juju play when he's forced into the number 1 role?
I don't really watch a lot of Chiefs games, but
He ain't a one.
I
He ain't
do
a
see
one.
him running. I do see him running a lot of 5-yard slants, which
He
is
ain't
what
a
I
one.
love to do in Madden. So I mean, hey, he's open. He's open.
All
So
right,
just run
no,
the ball,
no,
Packers.
okay. So you still like Juju, is what you're saying,
I like Juju. He just
despite
needs to
he's on
show
your
me a
bench
little.
currently.
Um, that's because I don't know what to do at the moment. I'm not gonna bench him for. I'm not gonna put him in over Keenan Evans or Pittman.
All
And
right,
I think that Damian Harris and the Patriots are gonna run the football down Detroit's throat.
fair
Because
enough.
Mac's not playing and Hoyer's probably not playing. So is Bailey Zappi going to throw the football 35 times? Probably not.
Well, it's just interesting because Drake London and Rashad Bateman, the two of the guys you traded for Juju, have been currently either in or right up in Graham's flex at the least in his lineup, both of them.
Yeah.
So it's
I,
just
I
curious that you traded two starting players for a guy who's currently on your bench.
yeah.
How confident is the Peacock with this trade in the long haul?
I knew that one of those two players were probably going to be around 20 ish, and I thought I would took the chance of thinking Juju might finish top 15. I knew that one of them probably wasn't going to be good between Bateman and London. And I thought Bateman was going to be the significantly better player over London, but I was wrong for right now at least. I think Bateman is kind of not lived up to expectations, while Drake London has just exceeded every expectation so
Well,
far.
he has the upside of being a rookie, so you actually don't
Well,
really know
exactly.
how his career is going to pan out yet.
Yeah.
Probably more
So
upside overall.
I mean, right now London is at 13.8, and Bateman's at 11.3.
All right, but you
So
made this trade right after week one. You held on to it this year. You usually trade away your whole team preseason, but you held on week one this year. It is now currently going into week 5. Would you still make that trade today if offered?
um, I would not do London. I would probably lean towards another receiver that was on my bench with Bateman for Juju. I probably would have liked to keep London.
Gotcha. So
Um,
so the Peacock
and
dropped the ball on this one, would we say?
yeah, yeah, I definitely missed on that one. But hey, you win some, you lose some.
Sure,
I like
sure.
I liked my acquisition of AJ Dillon from Team Connie Johnny. And as we speak, a trade just
Oh
got
wow, a
accepted.
trade
Actually,
was just accepted.
the trade was just
So
accepted.
this is breaking news on the 19 eyebrow recent activity. Let's take a look
Okay,
right here.
it's Jason acquired Gerald Everett, and BBQ acquired Brandon Ayuk.
Interesting.
Weird trade. Very under the
Yeah,
radar.
very. I gotta say, if I'm gonna give my take on this live, just hearing this now, I don't know. I feel like I'd almost keep Gerald Everett and try to trade him for some more with someone else. I'm
Yeah,
not.
I agree
Yeah.
with you right there, but there's also a little more behind it that I don't think that you're not reading into yet. Looking at Jason's team, he does have Kyle Pitts. Is Jason officially losing trust in Kyle Pitts?
Well, what's interesting too is that Kyle Pitts was the second overall tight end to go in our draft, and he was taken right after Kelsey and right before Mark Andrews. Interestingly
Yep,
enough, so
yep.
that was definitely a controversial move in hindsight.
So I think Jason is losing trust in Kyle Pitts.
So that's the other
So
question I'd ask. So you mentioned Jason. You believe you'll be passing him in the long run. What is it about Jason's team specifically you don't see happening? You don't see hitting the big time.
For one, quarterbacks, if you don't have one of the top, 3, 4 guys, I don't really think the quarterbacks matter that much. But let's go down. Let's start with the running backs. He does have Najee. Najee can at any moment turn it around, but they have just such a quarterback disaster at the moment. Kenny's starting, Mitch is pissed, and it's Kenny's first game, and
Their offense is pretty
Najee's dealing with a
pathetic.
foot.
Yeah.
Najee's dealing with a foot injury. Their offensive line is awful. He can't run for more than 3 yards in an attempt. It's brutal there in Pittsburgh.
And you had Najee the majority of last year, so
And he
you,
was very frustrating. He never broke off any big runs. It's always just 2, 3 yard hit the line and fall.
mm.
It was very aggravating having him last year. And then we go to Damian Pierce, who, Rex Burkhead's Rex Burkhead. He's not going to carry the load, but it's Houston. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it
Like
is the
how
Texans. That is
reliable.
fair.
But to give Jason some credit, Damian Harris has been getting some, a decent amount of touches, 34 touches over the last 2 games. You know,
Lately, yes, they've been using him, but
210 yards and 2 touchdowns.
I'd
So
say
he's at.
what about his wideouts though? He's currently sitting now with Sutton, Thielen, and Lockett. Now,
That is a this just disgusting core of wide receivers. That might be Jason. I love you, but the worst core of wide receivers in the league.
ouch, ouch. That is.
Cortland Sutton, not bad. I like Cortland Sutton, but more of a wide receiver too on a team.
In
Even though
fairness, he has been outpacing Judy very consistently so far, which has
exactly,
surprised me as well. But in fairness to
exactly,
Cortland,
I agree with you there. But he's
Thielen,
just
I'm on record saying Adam Thielen is washed. I think he's had a lucky last couple of games, and Jefferson's been drawing too much coverage.
I agree with you there. And then I think I had Tyler Lockett last year. Tyler Lockett will get 2 targets and maybe 1 catch for 9 yards, or he will explode and get 9 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
He's definitely one of the most frustrating
There's
players in fantasy
no
football.
in between
No,
with that guy.
You're right. He's very low floor, high ceiling.
And I think that Geno Smith is just not going to be playing at an MVP level come week 9, 10,
Well,
11.
I don't know if everyone needs an MVP level, but I understand your point.
It's Geno Smith. I mean, come on now.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Kyle Pitts, I mean, he's, as we are talking, he just made a trade for Gerald Everett, so might have just lost confidence there. Then Hunter Renfrow, they have Devontae Adams.
So are you telling me that you think Jason has the worst team in the league? Is this where you're going with all this? Because you're being awfully critical and harsh compared to some of the other.
I'm not going to say that. It's down there.
Well, this can segue right to our next question. Who is the worst team in the league?
I think I kind of covered that earlier in the interview. I don't think there is a specifically worst team, because if one team loses one player, they're the worst team. Or if this person gets healthy, their team's a little better now than this team. So right now, there's no worst team. But I will say that his team right now reminds me a lot of mine last year.
I see what you mean. I will say from the outside looking in, there are some parallels to draw. There's been a number of trades, a number of injuries. Yep. Fair enough. It's not quite Philip the Infirmary levels, I would say. That's a little pushing it.
No, the only difference is that his team's not hurt and mine was.
Fair enough. Okay. So you're pretty confident you'll be able to pass Jason in the long run. All right. You think the Cummish has not the best team. You think he all right.
Yeah, Jack has great wide receivers and 2 pretty good running backs, but I do like Jack's team. I really do. It's there. But I just think I think Jack's just a trade away.
Now
I think but he can't make that trade because his bench is just not existent.
Well, it seems as though most people are only really interested in Diggs or Jefferson, and that puts Jack in quite the pickle because that's kind of what gives his team an edge,
Yeah,
so he definitely could be neutering his roster if he were to give one of them up. That's for sure. But
I agree.
As far as, let's see here. So you're just coming off of your first win. Let's get back to that now. And I'm really curious what your mindset was going into this past week. Were you expecting a win against Jack? What was the roller coaster of emotions as the week started off and went on? Take me back to Thursday.
I will. Just give me a second if we can cut the video. Will I get this message up from
I'll edit this anyway.
Okay. So on Tuesday, September 29th, or September 27th, Jack texts me, ready to get spanked this week. And I said, Tuesday morning, meaning referencing today, this morning, next week, Tuesday morning next week, gonna hit different, being 0-4, down half my savings. I was Las Vegas last weekend. then I said, if I'm being 100% honest, I'm probably not opening the fantasy app while I'm away from mental health purposes.
Oh, so your confidence was an all-time low in
Yes.
the Peacock franchise going into
And
this past week?
exactly. Exactly.
Very interesting because you enter this interview to sweet victory. Are you just riding the wave right now, riding the momentum, trying to?
Uh, you gotta take the wins while you can, and you gotta be happy about them. It's okay to be happy for 24 hours, and then once those 24 hours are over, it's time to walk up for the next week. So, I think I caught the very well,
Well, to give a
11
quick
o'clock.
recap as well, though, your defense was the only player left on your roster going into Monday Night
Oh,
Football. And your
that is correct.
defense came up with the 20 points it needed to barely edge out the win. How did it feel watching your defense
It's
perform?
funny you say that because I was on a plane coming home, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm down. I think I was down 17 or 18 points. One of those two. My defense ended up scoring 20, but I think I was down by 18. And I'm on the plane, and I'm thinking to myself, the 49ers were defense. Kittle is kind of a shaky tight end. If they get a touchdown, I could win this game. And I'm like, defenses only get touchdowns maybe once or twice a year. What are the chances, right? And then I didn't watch any of the game. And then, I'm just sitting, like, laying in bed on my phone. And then around 11 o'clock, my phone just starts blowing up from the fantasy chat. And they're like chimping out. I'm like, oh, something must have happened. I'm reading the messages, and it's about the same defense. I'm like, now I'm invested in this. In this, I'm down by two. They need 2 sacks or something. I still refuse to watch the game because the good luck's on my side, and I haven't been watching the game, so why turn it on? And hey, they ended up pulling it out. So, you know, thought Jack had it in the bag, and
The
he
moment you
didn't.
realized you had secured the W, how did you feel? What was your reaction?
Oh man, I, I don't even know how to explain it. I really thought I was 0-4, and to know I was 1-3 instead, the mindset the mindset definitely shifts. Because here I am thinking I'm 0-4. I am gonna have like a 3% chance of making the playoffs. Like, I'm screwed. I can't lose more than 2 more games for the rest of the year.
You make
And
it
then
sound like you're coming back from like active duty in Afghanistan. You make it sound like
the PTSD started to kick in from last season, and no. But if I'm being real, I did think Jack was gonna win,
so
and
it's been a shaky year, you would say, to start off, but you've gained a little bit of confidence, I suppose, from the last week.
um, confidence is a word you could use. Yeah.
Yes, it's a word
I
that does
think
exist in the English
I,
language.
well, I'm just thinking, like, I never lost confidence in my team. I'm just started to lose
Hope?
faith. I started to lose hope because there's only so many weeks in an NFL season, and my team was just decimated by injuries starting week 1. I lost Dak. I lost Elijah Mitchell. I lost Keenan. Mike Evans ended. ETN just was not worth the 5th round pick that I drafted him
Yeah,
with.
you did. Yeah, you did. Well,
Uh,
at least you didn't reach for ETN too high. Like, he was a bit of a reach. You could add better in the 5th round. But, like, at least he wasn't no 2nd round, 3rd round. Like, that could have been
no, I
worse.
agree. I
That could have
agree
been
there.
worse.
So now, and I was concerned for Henry because Henry wasn't doing well the first 2 weeks. Now going into week 5, I'm 1-3. Henry's starting to come around. I have RB2 and AJ Dillon. Keenan is now questionable. God, please, I hope he plays. Mike Evans is coming off his best game this year, and Pittman is just always a question mark. Dalton Schultz starts performing when Dak comes back. But, Jack, I'm basically just a farm system for Jack, and it's like the minor leagues just beat the pro because Jack dropped Damian Harris. I start Damian Harris. Damian Harris scores a touchdown. After Damian Harris doesn't score that touchdown, I lose to Jack. So, Jack, thank you
I
for
do
dropping Damian
I do
Harris.
agree. I think a lot of people in the league are really like we have no clue why the hell Jack just dropped Damian Harris. That's a little aggressive. Yeah, he probably could have made a trade.
I mean, we look at Jack's bench now. Jack Every player on Jack's bench is worse than Damian Harris.
Damn, you really sound low on the Cummish, though, for the rest of the season.
Um,
I believe just a week ago, you might have been quoted saying he has the best team in the league. What happened, B-Mags?
Well, a lot. James Conner in the whole offense is a disaster. Kyler Murray is just not elite. He's, God, bad. And
the way that you just like deferred, you're just like, he's just bad. Like,
bad.
dude,
he's just not good this year.
bro, Kyler catching strays.
He's just.
Oh,
not
hey,
studying
BBQ, we're in the middle of our interview with B-Mags.
He's just not. He's just not studying film.
Okay.
That's what I gotta say. Just keep it short and sweet with the commissioner.
Ouch.
I know that he has. I know that he cannot do anything.
B-Mags is in the house.
Oh, you're ruining my interview.
Mr. wins one game.
We've addressed the.
Let us finish the interview.
We've addressed the whole. I asked him the roller coaster of emotions he went through this past week. It was quite the ride, I gotta say. I didn't expect.
Did you see the trade?
Yes, yeah, we did just comment on it as well. How do you feel about the trade while you're here?
Oh, it was a shitty trade, but I got a player out of a player I don't need.
I just think you could have held on to him, maybe done a little more with the trade. But like, yeah, if you just wanted to get rid of him.
That's the goal.
Fair enough.
He was asking way too much, so I was like, would you just do a player straight up? And he's like, yeah, sure.
And, well, this is actually a perfect opportunity because we haven't talked about BBQ's team at all, Mags. Since you're at the bottom of the standings, let's take a look at the top of the standings.
What do you have to say about my undefeated team?
Yeah, I'm very curious. BBQ and Jamie are the only currently undefeated teams.
You're on top of the world right now, B-Mag, so like, what do you have to say so I can bring you down to earth?
Yeah, before we talk Jamie's team, I'd like to get your thoughts on BBQ's team. Since you've had a lot to say about most of the other owners so far, you haven't really touched BBQ's team yet.
Well, my favorite player...
Yeah, he knows I'm the alpha.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. I like his team because it looks very similar to my 2019 team that won it all for me. I love
reminiscing the glory years.
I love Dalvin. I love Aaron Jones. I love Jamar Chase. Deontay Johnson scares me a little bit because the quarterback situation. But Marquise Brown is just having a hell of a year. I was not expecting that. Goddard is just he's
the number one tight end.
He's solid. And I hope James Robinson stays healthy, but...
Oh, you're full of shit. James Robinson's the only thing holding back ETN.
I hope that he's...
I've been pretty neutral and objective this whole time, BBQ. That's the most full of shit thing he's said. That's the most he's lied through his teeth this whole time. Just lying through his fucking teeth. He's got two people's handcuffs on his bench. I'm gonna call it out, Max. You got two handcuffs on your bench.
I do have Dalvin.
Bullshit, you ain't wishing injury.
Max, that's the only reason why you drafted him. Literally the sole reason why you drafted him.
Yeah, I dropped this little nugget.
You looked at the windows of my soul and said, we'll be in talks. And I refused to talk to you ever since.
I think you blocked my number.
Okay, so B-Mag's not wishing any injury on anyone.
If there's a team that deserves to win, it's BBQ's because I think last year was his time, and everyone knows what happened last year with his team.
And 2015 as well. That was also his year.
Yeah, I think BBQ he's due. You're due.
He's been overdue, admittedly.
It's Doomsday, B-Mag.
It's Doomsday. It is Doomsday. And if there's a team that it looks like it's going to make the playoffs, since we're probably going to transition into his team now, I hope he makes it all the way, and I hope BBQ dismantles him in the finals.
So wait, way early overreaction prediction. Are you predicting what I think you're predicting? And AFC, NFC Championship or Super Bowl versus Jamie and BBQ? Is that what you're implying?
I am. That's exactly.
You are that high on Jamie's team? Wow.
So then the Super Bowl's next week. Just give me the trophy.
If Graham's team could also make a sneaky push, same with Zach's. And yours, Nick. Everyone else probably not.
Whoa. He's wiping
based on
out half the
recent-
comp. But what about yourself? You were pretty big on your turnaround, I believe.
Oh, listen, dude, I'm just trying to make the playoffs. I'm just here so I don't get fined. So,
Okay.
um, I'm trying to be as unbiased as I possibly
Well,
can.
let's look at Jamie's team then. What is it that you think of Jamie's team? Just go down the list. He did have the #1 overall pick. Jonathan Taylor's been quite underwhelming, I'd say, thus far.
He just going. If I was looking at this team week 1, I would tell him that you have one of the worst teams in the league. And now that week 5, it's like he didn't miss. He just didn't miss.
So you're confident Christian Kirk will keep up his pace the rest of the year?
No.
Like Big Mike?
No.
You like CD?
Mike, CD, I love CD.
You love CD?
I love CD.
That's a relatively hot take, I'd say. I mean, he's been a little more consistent lately, but he was certainly not. He had a lot of question marks going in this season.
I just like CD because I fucked myself in the draft this year. I was second round. I needed a receiver. And I was thinking, do I want Keenan or do I want CD? Which one do I want?
Wait, you picked Keenan in the second round?
And I picked Keenan over CD.
In the second round?
In the second round, I picked Keenan.
Dude, I got Tyreek in the second round. What the fuck were you smoking? Like, there was a lot of people on the board.
I was like, Keenan has had 1,000-yard seasons for like 6 straight years. And of course, the year I draft him, he isn't going to. He's missed 3 games now.
Oh, anything could happen, but okay.
I mean, unless he gets averages
other than CD, you haven't really been giving too much. Now he does have Lamar Jackson, who's putting up some MVP type performances so far. Fair. What are your thoughts on Clyde though? Because you were just roasting Jamie the other week about Clyde. I'm really curious your thoughts now. He's sitting at 4th overall position rank.
I mean, it's absurd that someone can be ranked 4th in running backs and for 3 straight weeks get 7 attempts. 8 attempts, 7 attempts. In one of those weeks, they got 0 rushing yards.
So you have questions about, is the volume there, and is any of these performances sustainable?
I think he has 5 touchdowns through 4 weeks.
That is pretty unsustainable, even for the top.
That's not gonna happen. That's 20 plus touchdowns maybe in a year.
I find it difficult to imagine. 5? Yeah, I find it hard to believe Clyde will drop 20 touchdowns in a season.
I don't think that pace is sustainable.
And he's only had 1 drop all season so far.
Yeah.
So he's made the most of his opportunities, which is good, but a little.
So, and I also hope that he loses in the most unfortunate fashion possible, because since I went 0-1, I think I've received a text every single day reminding me of my record and him also reminding me of his.
Right, Jamie, I believe, has been very in your head.
Do you wanna tell everyone the trade you offered Zach today?
Oh, I spit in meat.
You straight up spit in his face today. You haven't
spat in his face.
So
today.
you're admitting that you showed no respect towards Zach today. What was this trade?
So let me go over the trade I offered Jason today first.
No. I asked about Zach.
No, we'll get to Zach.
Well, why are you avoiding it?
I'm not, because I want to get my good trade out of the way first before we start.
Is it because Zach sent it to me and I told him to tell you to kill yourself?
Zach texted me right away and I was like, I'm gonna kill you. Basically, he's like, I'm putting in my face, and then he also texted Jack and fucking Archer about it too.
Yeah, he texted me and Bumba. He sent it to us.
Oh,
yeah, I've already seen it, but
Jason All right, so I text Jason. I was like, would you do Keenan and I said Keenan, Juju, and Damian Harris for Najee and Sutton. That's, I think, a respectable trade.
You're still kind of spitting like behind his back.
I don't think Najee's that good. I just think that
he's throwing a lot at Jason. I'd say, yeah, he's throwing a lot at Jason.
I mean, I'm giving Keenan, Juju, and Damian for running.
You know what it is, B-Mags? It's desperation.
It is a desperate move, I'll admit, but you are throwing quite a bit at Jason.
So then, I've been texting Jason like every week for the past since the season started, trying to get Javonte, and then he doesn't give me Javonte; he gives him the Jack instead, and we all know how that ended.
So that's how Javonte got hurt. He had B-Mags' energy creeping up on him all year.
B-Mags, thank God you didn't get him though, because we'd actually probably have to talk you off a bridge.
Oh my God!
my team's becoming healthy though, and then I I texted Zach earlier. We were after I sent this offer the trade. We talked a little bit and it was going nowhere. But
Yeah,
I
me and
think
Jack talked today, and that went nowhere.
So
I think
what
I
is this
offered
trade with Zach?
if I remember correctly, BBQ, help me if I'm wrong. I sent him. Oh fuck! I think it was for Mark Andrews. I wanted Mark Andrews, only player I wanted at the moment for Dalton Schultz, Juju, and
Romeo Dubs.
Romeo Dobbs. And Zach said, "GTFO, kill yourself." That's not happening. And then we talked a
Oh,
little
I would
bit
have said the
after.
same thing.
And yeah, I mean, I just wanted to see where his head was at because I like Mark
Clearly,
Andrews.
it wasn't at Stupidville.
And he told me to F off. And then he was like, if you want Mark Andrews, I want at least Derrick Henry. And the talks basically stopped right there.
So the Peacock is in a very take all, give nothing mentality currently, trying to see what it can squeeze out the owners.
Yeah, I'm trying to see, what I can get for cheap. I'm
on the low.
I don't care if people are being like, this is the worst trade ever. Oh, you can think it's the worst trade ever. Then you know what? Send me a counter offer, and then we can meet in the middle somewhere. But I'm gonna
B-Mags, but then when we send you counter offers, you act like we just killed your family.
You take it like a personal insult.
When you're trying to get okay. Here's my thing. Like, you gotta think about what my team needs if you want to trade with me, and I'm trying to think of what your team needs.
Your team needs everything, low key, dude. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got some
receivers.
Yeah.
I need a tight end and I need a quarterback. Those are the two things I need.
I just
You
traded
can maybe
away
use some
Everett.
running backs too.
I know.
That could have been you.
I was shitting on the Cummish for dropping Damian Harris. I dropped Gerald Everett, so I can't really talk about So I had him. I just didn't think he was going to keep the pick he was.
It was concerning when he caused that.
Curse.
No, it was concerning when he was gassed and he caused that interception for Justin Herbert. I mean, that's the coach's fault for leaving him on the field, but I was a little concerned with Everett as well.
But yeah, I mean, I just need a quarterback. So,
well, I guess though, to segue to the next question I plan on asking you though is, what are your early predictions for the finals? Who do you believe is making it all the way? Who do you think is making the playoffs and or winning it all?
Winning it all.
Way early prediction.
Think if I were a betting man and I had to put my life on the line.
I swear to God, B-Mags. Don't say it. Just don't even answer the question.
I'm gonna say one name and everyone else can imply the other one. Or figure out and fill in the blanks with the other. Nick, I think that you.
Really? I actually didn't surprise that. I'm surprised you gave me that credit.
And I also think that a team that has scored 558 points will also make it.
Are you literally picking me and BBQ? Wait, are you picking me and BBQ?
Bumba, watch. We're gonna play for the toilet bowl now, Bumba.
Dude, seriously. Wait.
Yeah.
Why did I invite this into? He's getting smart. He knows he's fading himself now.
The reverse psychology I was talking about earlier.
He's fading himself. This is bullshit.
No, but for real, I think that yeah. Granted.
So you think Jamie's team is just a fluke?
I just don't see how it can keep the pace it's on. I don't. I really don't.
In case you guys didn't know, too, Jamie does not have a defense anymore.
Neither does Zach.
I mean, that's fine, though. You could rotate a defense, no problem. He's going to pick one up tomorrow.
He was also telling me that Melvin Gordon's going to be a workhorse now that Javonte is gone, which is just bull. But
yeah, no, I can get behind that.
A dude that had, let me just double check this stat. I think -3 yards.
And 4 fumbles.
Excuse me, 8 yards. 8 yards. He's had, the last 2 games, he's had 15 total carries, and 34 yards. He's averaging 2 yards a carry and 2 fumbles. I don't think that's a workhorse running back.
No, yeah. That's a fair.
That's a pretty shit running back, actually. Like that, those stats shouldn't be on an NFL roster.
But to go back real quick, so like, okay, maybe you think Jamie's a fake team, but like, is your actual prediction me or BBQ again for the winner? Like, you think it's gonna be a rematch of last year?
No, yeah, wife on the line. You guys are my 2 picks.
That's interesting. I wasn't expecting
Fuck
that.
you,
I gotta
Mags.
say, BBQ is sus clearly,
And
but I wasn't expecting it.
Nick, I hate to say it, but I hope BBQ beats you.
Fair
Oh
enough.
my
No,
god!
I probably.
Oh man.
Super.
Bumba, you're not including the fact B Mags went like 1 for 20 in Vegas.
Wait, you went one? Yeah, Max just got from Vegas the other day.
I went like 4 for 19 in sports.
Oh, jeez, dude, bro. I was
Like
talking
Bumba,
to
you just ruined our seasons.
I was talking to BBQ over the weekend. I was like, "How much you bet Max is betting right now?"
Yeah, I lost so much money this weekend.
But fuck, what was the other thing I was gonna? I had another good one. Oh, right. So just to address something, I guess this is more of a personal beef between you and me. We got into a little bit of drama in the preseason. I believe you listed off like eight or nine receivers who you said I should have picked over Amon-Ra St. Brown in the 4th round. I'm just really curious if you would still rather have every one of those receivers you mentioned, which I'm showing on the screen right now, over Amon-Ra top 5 St. Brown.
I don't recall all.
Like if I were to offer you just right now Amon-Ra for Pittman, would you take that, or are you still confident?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
That's interesting.
You did say Pittman was way better than Amon.
I thought when Pittman fell to me in the 4th round, I forget who was drafted.
I drafted ahead of you and picked.
I know, but there were 2 receivers. I think it was right. I forget who was to my right because I literally said, look them in the face. There was the pick before me. I forget who picked, and who it was, and who they picked. But I looked them dead in the eyes, and I said, you are a fucking idiot. Because I thought they were going to pick Pittman, and they didn't, and Pittman fell to me. I looked them in the eyes, and I was like, you fucking idiot.
That was me.
So was it? No, because it
was me.
I don't think
that's why I said we got into a little bit of beef. I remember. I said I'm about to make a move that I know is controversial, but I believe in it.
No, because you said that, and you were behind me when you said that. The person I said this to was to my right. Who was it?
Was it BBQ? Who was it?
No, who? It's the 4th
Bumba
round.
Drafted.
It was the 4th round.
Bumba drafted St. Brown in the 32nd. Mags, you drafted Pittman in the 37th.
So who BBQ? Who are the 2 receivers taken before? Who were the 2 picks before Pittman? Can you see?
That is an interesting question. It was a big round for receivers.
The 34th pick was me with Deontay.
Yeah, I don't think it was Deontay though.
Who did Jason pick someone, or did?
I think Jason picked.
Was it Jamie? Did Jamie take Christian Kirk? No, he took Kirk.
Jamie took Christian Kirk in the 80th.
Oh, that's okay.
Like the 80th.
37 wasn't Connor.
33rd was Jalen Waddle and Graham.
No way you told Graham that was stupid.
I don't know. I don't think it was Waddle.
28th was AJ Brown.
No, it wasn't AJ Brown. Who was
Jerry
it?
Jeudy 36 by Shane.
That's who it was.
Oh yeah, Shane.
Oh yeah.
Well, you do have personal beef with Jerry Jeudy. That's fair to say,
yeah,
Max.
Jerry Jeudy was on my team last year. Jerry Jeudy.
Jerry's gonna have at least 9 points this week.
But yeah, I knew there was a questionable receiver right before Pittman.
So to wrap most of this up, though, I guess I would say. So you had a roller coaster of emotions for the last 4 weeks. You're really down on your team going into this week. You're feeling confident a little bit coming off the win. Mm-hmm. Where do you see the Peacock in 8 weeks from now, let's say, 10 weeks, middle, thick of the season? Where do you see the Peacock standing? What's your record sitting around? And do you believe you'll be in playoff contention?
8 weeks from now?
8, 10-ish weeks, in the thick of the season, where do you believe your team will be at?
Granted, half the league is 1-3, and that's not an
Yeah,
exaggeration.
B-Max,
Standings
we're
wise,
gonna
you're
be
not far
around
behind.
Thanksgiving
One and
time.
three.
You have some very low points, so you probably want to hope to get wins, not necessarily points, but
Exactly.
standings wise,
But
you are not far behind.
statistically speaking, if I go 500, I'll make the playoffs. So
That is a big if, considering. I mean, we didn't finish going down the line of your schedule. We only talked about your matchup this week. But I guess to jump back to your schedule real quick, if we're taking a look at it, you've got Zach this week, and right after Zach, you've got
L.
I'm about to go. I'm going.
you've got
I'm
Jamie, who is currently 4-0.
That's an L.
You've
I'm
got
going to the-
Shane, who is an underdog. I would say
That's gonna be
at
an
1 and
L
3.
by 2 points.
That is going to be a close one for sure. Definitely. Then right after Shane, you've got Graham.
Yep.
That's an L.
Oh,
Shane is a good team. Or BB. Or
And then
Grandma's a good
after
team.
Graham, you've got me.
That's
That's
a
a
dub
W.
for B-Mags.
Oh yeah, Max. Yeah, yeah. BBQ. Did you just? Okay, yeah. And then after me, you go right to BBQ. I mean, fuck.
Automatic L.
Oh, and Max was talking mad shit about Connor's team, and after BBQ week 10, you've got Connor. Mad shit talking about Connor. You think that's a dub?
That was a shit talking.
Dude, Connor beat you. Connor
What?
beat you week 2.
I know we did. But let's look at my team week 2, shall we?
I think
Shall
we
we
already
look at
did.
He dropped 85 points.
Yeah.
Let me look at my team. Who was hurt? Let's take a look. Keenan was hurt. Pittman was hurt. Mitchell was hurt. I dropped Dak because he was hurt. So Drake, I had Kenyon Drake as my flex. Is Kenyon Drake even on a roster anymore? Like an NFL roster?
Max, you could have thrown a dart at a fucking. You could have just thrown a dart at the flex
I
section of the
didn't have
waivers
anyone. I
and picked
didn't have
someone who
anyone.
scored more.
My team was hurt. I had to just ride it out.
Well, then, all right, so supposedly you might get the dub against Connor week 11. Then you got Jason after that. I think you could get a dub there, sure. But, I mean, anything could happen. You're certainly not leaps and bounds ahead of Jason right now. And then you finish off with the Cummish and Peacock again. So you don't really have the easiest schedule going forward. You've had an easy schedule so far, but it definitely gets tougher down the stretch.
The teams I faced so far have a combined record of around 500. A little above 500 because BBQ kind of skews the average a little bit. But
I mean, you did lose to a team that put up 111, and then you also lost to a team that put up 117.
like my team
And then
is starting to come
you
healthy.
barely
My team
beat
is
a
starting
team
to
who
be
put
healthy.
up 117 this past week as well. So it's
Oh my
just,
god, B-Mads got so lucky.
yeah,
That
you
was
really did.
unbelievable,
I mean,
though.
I gotta admit, we were all on your side because like you had that underdog factor and like fuck the Commish, sure this week.
Oh, dude,
You know?
I think I said it earlier. Like I wasn't even watching the game. I thought I was gonna lose.
Dude, you won with a goose egg. Like, you really got to flex that.
Yeah, no, you.
Dalton Schultz dropped 0, dude. Oh man.
And Trevor Lawrence struck 6.66.
Yeah,
So, like,
dude,
you were
Trevor
cursed to begin
Trevor
with.
Lawrence fumbled 4 times. 4 times.
It really is a down bad moment for the commissioner. It's quite the low light for him.
Okay, but that's the thing. Maybe my tight end doesn't drop 0 points, and Trevor Lawrence doesn't turn the ball over 5 times in one game. I'm looking at like 135, 140.
But all right,
so all in all, it's
despite
not
the
a bad week for
record,
rest of the
or
team.
despite the schedule we just went over, you're putting your team around 500 in the thick of the season.
I think that ideally, I think that I'll give myself my ceiling, my reality, and my basement. My ceiling, my floor, and my expectation. Ceiling, what? How many more weeks are there? There's 14 weeks, I think, into the playoffs.
No, the playoffs start like right
Well, I
around
mean,
week
like
14,
14
15.
total weeks, right?
Well, I will say this: your ceiling is the same as anyone's, in that anyone's got a chance to win it all. That's the
okay,
truth.
so I think that my ceiling, 14 total weeks. I'm already at 1 and 3, so there's 10 games left. I will say.
And you're probably only favored in 2 of those games.
I'll say that my ceiling is 8 and 6. My reality, my expectation is probably 6 and 8 or 7 and 7. And then this absolute low ceiling is probably like 2 and 12 or 3 and 11.
2-12, 3-11 at the lowest. Okay.
Those are those.
And
Those
then
so those are my
around
things. Like,
500, you believe you'll realistically be.
I think realistically like
And your
6, 7, and 7.
in your highest expectations, you can maybe get a couple wins over 500. Okay.
And then that's my ceiling would be like 8 and 6.
Fair enough. And I guess we can finish this off. Let's see here. I guess any last comments, closing remarks, anything you would like to share with the fans of the Peacock Nation, Peacock Squad, 0-2 rings? What do you have to say to the fans and the viewers who are rooting for you to take home the championship this season, B-Mags?
Well, just go know that, every team that wins goes through a little bit of a rebuild, and that's exactly what we're doing. We already have 2 banners, the 2017 banner, the 2019 banner. We have made the playoffs since. That's okay. We're coming back. We're just rebuilding. We're getting the ego bigger. That's all we need. Our biggest rival is Team No Connie Johnny. That is like, we don't like them. We root against them. We despise them. We do not want anything good happening to that franchise.
Okay, so hear it now. If you are a Peacock fan, No Connie Johnny is the enemy. They are
the enemy.
We don't like them.
And if then every other team, like they're a team.
And I believe that's more of a personal beef rather than an on the field beef.
I wouldn't call it personal. I mean, I love the kid. I just think that his fantasy ego was the size of a hot air balloon.
Well, he did, I believe,
well,
to quote.
He allegedly does not talk shit.
That's a whole other story. We'll get his interview someday, don't you worry.
Yeah.
But he did allegedly just last night say to you, and I quote, "There's levels to this game, little boy."
Yes,
to you.
And I was talking to him earlier, and he told me that although I hold that there's a stat that I was talking to him about earlier. I'm second all time in wins. I'm tied for most rings. And he's like, yeah, but I have a record too. My record is the worst record in the league. He holds the worst. That's the record he's proud about.
Yes, he does have the worst record in league history. That is a fact. Even below Cam, which is impressive.
1-12. That's a pretty bad record if you ask me.
Oh, it's pretty.
Those are records that like the New York Jets are proud of.
And in fairness to B-Mags, as shitty as his seasons have been, I don't believe he's ever finished worse than 4 wins. I believe you've always had at least 4 wins. Am I right?
Yeah. My
maybe you had a 3-win season. I don't
know. I think the 9th or 10th year I've been in the league. I've my best finish has been 1st twice, and my worst finish has been 8th twice.
Okay.
So,
and I guess only other last question though, closing remark too. The toilet bowl is definitely a reality. It's a possibility for your squad. Let's be honest here. It's definitely possible for you to end up in the toilet bowl. And my question here is, what are your thoughts about a potential toilet bowl season? And are you scared or nervous at the idea of being punished by the league officials?
I'm not scared.
That's BS.
But I definitely am on edge and more so curious as to what they're going to put me through if I do lose.
Oh, yeah, you already talking like you might. Okay. If we're being real, if we were betting right here, right now, you're not exactly the underdog to make it to the, you might be in the minus for the betting. You know what I mean? You might be the betting favorite.
I don't think I'd be the betting favorite. I mean,
maybe not the favorite.
Put some respect on 0-2 rings now. Come on.
Well, you got 1 win. You got one win.
Dude, my team has been hurt. They've been hurt. They're finally getting healthy. They
were healthy this past week. I mean, did Dalton Schultz get hurt? He didn't get hurt.
He had a PCL injury.
Oh, he did get hurt?
He came back this week off, and it doesn't help that Dak isn't playing, but yeah.
Okay, so
Keenan didn't play.
So you're not realistically panicking about a toilet bowl right now. You might have been going into this week though, right?
No. Yeah, if I was 0-4, see the thing is, I think that if I end up in the losers brackets, I think that I can win pretty well. I think I'm not concerned if I made it to the losers bracket. I'm more so if I was
was concerned that if I went to 0-4, my chances of making the playoffs were just gone. So I'm happy I was secure a victory. It's a big, lift to the team, to the spirit, to the ego, to the confidence of the team.
So we caught you at a good time.
Oh yeah, I mean, I came with a sweet, sweet victory by SpongeBob. So of course.
So you're feeling the come around. You're feeling the turnaround.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm not saying this is one of my best teams by any means, but I don't think it's my worst.
Okay,
So,
I mean, Philip the Infirmary was
that,
rough, so that's fair.
I think, yeah. So I mean, we're definitely not the 2014 Pats, but
And I guess one last thing though, just maybe silence the haters. You have not had a winning record or made the playoffs ever since the start of the decade. When do you expect your team to break this curse? What can you say? You've been in a rebuild.
You say the start of the decade. I mean, I get what you mean since the turn of the decade.
Yeah.
Since the turn of the decade. I haven't.
Start the turn, whatever you want to call it.
Yep. You're just making it seem like it's been 10 years.
It's just you've claimed you're in a rebuild. When is the team going to be built in your eyes? What are you expecting?
And
it's interesting you're in a rebuild because we do a snake draft. We don't have keeper league, and you had one of the highest picks. So quite a wild rebuild, but it's a bold move. But
we can expect a championship. I guarantee a championship for myself.
This year?
For my fans, for ownership.
Do you expect a ring in the next 5 years? Do you expect maybe by 2025 you could get a ring?
I expect a ring in the next 5 years. And I will say I expect a ring in the next 3.
Next 3? Oh, okay. Okay, he's calling it early. He's saying
that's
like
a bold one, D-man.
Yeah, like 2025-ish. Peacock will be back in full form by then.
I think that this year probably not going to happen. Next year, you never know. But by 2025, next year, the year after is definitely a year that you're going to want to be an 0-2 Rings fan. And by that time, I don't know. Maybe they could be the Peacock. The Peacocks are just being buried for right now. They don't deserve the embarrassment that
you hold the Peacock name to a higher standard.
Exactly. It's a very high standard, and I don't want to have that tarnished.
A historic organization.
0-2 Rings.
Yeah.
So for right now, that name is just being put in the pocket, and
right.
We'll bring it out again when the.
All right, fair enough. This interview has been kind of all over the place. I didn't really structure it in an organized manner, but I think we got the gist of where your head is at this season and going forward. And I like to thank you for your time, sharing your thoughts with the viewers, the fans of your franchise. And
thank you.
They'll be rooting for you if they want to. The viewers want to see you turn around, Mags. There are viewers out there looking for you to come up.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate all my fans.
You're like the Lions of this year. People are like, can they be good? Do we hop on the bandwagon?
I mean, I bring energy to my team, man. I'm like the Dan Campbell.
Yeah, you giving yourself.
They need a little kick in the ass.
You just compared yourself to Dan Campbell.
That's big talk. That's big talk.
I'm not Bill Belichick by any means. I'm not, hey, I'm happy very outgoing. I just want my team to succeed.
Well, best of luck for the rest of the season. Best of luck rest of the season, and I hope above all else you have fun this year.
Yeah, I hope I have fun too. I'll have fun when my team stays healthy. If my team gets hurt, I am not having fun.
Oh my God!
I've been talked out of a few things recently.
You almost jump off the Hoover Dam. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was in Boulder City, the Hoover Dam was looking very tempting. No, I'm joking, obviously, but the big thing is hopefully the team can stay healthy. And we'll go from there.
All right.
And same with everyone else's team. I hope their team can stay healthy too.
You're full of shit with your
except for one
handicap
team.
players on
But
your
other
bench.
than that, I hope everyone else's team stays healthy.
Right, gotcha. You would never wish injury.
Never wish injury on 9 teams in the league.
That's
You
oddly
did the day of the draft to me, buddy.
That is, there's no record of that.
Actually, there is.
Buddy,
I
you looked
quoted
me
it.
in the eyes and said we'll be in talks
Yeah,
when Dalvin gets
I
hurt.
quoted it in the history video. It's in the history book.
you know what? He's already having a bit of a shoulder injury, so you might need him soon.
Oh my god, he's already on it. He's already.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cocky B Mags is in full effect.
Yeah,
All right,
well,
well-
you're in the presence of 4 rings right now, so
Oh, he's talking.
Yeah.
Oh, ouch.
you basically sold your ring to charity last year. You should have won it, but you just didn't.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Because I can
You literally
control
said-
Jamar Chase
you literally said
dropping
Nick.
60 points on
You
me.
literally gift wrapped your whole franchise to the rest of the league. Like, put a bow and tie on it too. Like, you bow tied it, dude. You like gift wrapped it.
Yeah.
You know,
I went to
this
Nick
tree
and said,
and
"Hey
just said,
Nick, start
"Here,
Jamar
please."
Chase. He's gonna drop 60 points."
Yeah.
You know what?
BBQ just like walked up to me, bent over, and took it. Yeah. He just gave it to me. Yeah.
He literally let you, dude.
Yeah. It was consensual.
Yeah.
But all right. What's it called? Fucking. I gotta cut it off here because I'm running late for my stream at this point. But thank you again so much, Mags, for your time, and it's glad to get a look into your thoughts this year. And we wish you the best of luck.
Hopefully you can have me back soon.
Yeah, sounds great. We'll see. We'll check up on you later in the year, see where you're at, how you're doing. Maybe get you on with another owner as well for some trash talk. Maybe get that's one thing we got to do. We got to try like a week where I have 2 owners who are facing each other. You know, maybe like a big week, get both of them, turn it into like a UFC weigh-in.
The Brian Bowl.
Yeah,
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
yeah,
The Ryan Bowl, there's the Grace Bowl too.
yeah. There's quite a bit
Dude,
of bowl games.
I don't think